Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode. As you can see, we have PBD up on the screen here. Patrick Bet-David, for those of you who don't know, is a gentleman who's made quite a bit of money. He has, if I'm not mistaken, he owned a insurance company that he sold. Some people call it MLM. Other people just say it was a Ponzi scheme and took advantage of people and a bunch of stuff. But regardless, he's built quite a big platform. I've actually been to. I was at his election night in America live podcast. It's pretty interesting the way his team works and kind of what they do. He's heavily involved in politics, and I know some of you guys already know who he might be, but for the people who don't know, he's avid capitalistic. He's an avid supporter of capitalism, basically, and he did a podcast with Charleston White, which my opinion of Charleston White was always that this guy wasn't very smart. He's kind of dumb. He said a lot of outrageous things. I really mainly took him for just show. But there are some things in this episode that he says that are, I don't know if I want to say just yet that they're valid, but he definitely makes some points that makes you think about stuff. And so I figured, let's play bits and pieces of this and see what you guys think. I definitely want to know. Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the chat. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get started.
You don't think
Trump is a weenie.
Trump is a weenie?
Yeah, Trump. Name 3 bar fights we know Trump done had.
Well, no, he said in an interview with Logan Paul he's never been in a fist
That's
fight.
what I'm talking about. He's a weenie.
So you think if you've never been in a fist fight
As a man,
yeah,
you don't have no physical strength and ability to defend yourself as a man with no weapons. You got to have some kind of skills, or you a weenie.
Really?
What if you got a wife and kids and you can't, and somebody messing with your wife at the restaurant and you ain't got your gun on you and you ain't never been punched in the nose? How you know you can take a punch? Talking shit.
Interesting. So you think if someone's never been punched in the face, they're not qualified to be a president?
No. Especially when you got world leaders like Putin. Putin came up in the KGB, early days of it. He's worked his way up through the ranks, and it's documented he have killed people. Trump ain't never killed nobody. We need leaders, the generals of the army and military men to match our world leaders. That's why don't nobody respect our leaders. These are politician men that couldn't play football, wasn't high school jocks, that was nerds and barking like they men to the world. They weenies. You don't have no hand-to-hand comeback skills as a man, but you want to stand before all these other men who are trained martial artists from Kim Jong-un. Man, they'll kick our ass.
So you would rather have Mike Tyson as a president than Trump?
No, Mike Tyson's stupid. Mike Tyson's stupid. He been hit in the head too many times.
Over 8,000.
I mean, he makes a good point right there. I definitely understand where he's coming from with that aspect, because it's true. It's like you got a lot of the politicians here who, if you look at them, who they were in high school and kind of how they really established themselves was, the way he's saying, like they didn't play football, they didn't play sports, they never been in no combat, they haven't been in situations that requires them to show themselves, show their character, and show their ability to be resourceful. And I always heard this quote: "It's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war." And so, I think you could look around and see, like, they're sending people to go fight these wars that a lot of time we don't agree with. And I mean, I don't see many people who agree with any of the wars we've been in the last 20 years. I include myself in that as well. It's like there's a lot of things that is forced upon us as the 99%, I guess you could say, for lack of a better term, who don't agree with. And you saw it in the last election, how many politicians were out of touch with reality and saying things that most people are like, what the hell? Like, I'm just trying to pay my bills and have a safe a safe neighborhood and be able to raise some kids and afford, a car, a house, an American dream, and I can't even do that. So it's like it's one of those things where it's like, yo, that's I can see his point of view is really my point, but let's get back to the video.
So I grew up in the boys' home. In the boys' home, I spent 14 to 21. I think throughout those 7 years, I probably had 20 fights.
Wow.
20 fights. Before then, I was the kid who my cousin say, wait till my little cousin come over here. I'm gonna get him on you. So they bring me over there because I was a brave heart. As a kid, size really don't matter if you're brave.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have the rationale to be afraid when you're brave.
That's true. Yeah,
as a kid.
I agree. Fully.
So I was a brave heart. How I got in trouble is wanting to fit in with the older guys. My mom didn't work. When I get out of school, my mom's going to work. She worked in General Motors. She worked the night shift.
Got it.
She got dinner on the stove. She giving us instructions. Leave your homework out. Wash them dishes. Don't go outside. Don't answer the door for nobody. I'm going to call at these times. Make sure y'all answer them calls. And so when she got home and we didn't do that, she'd wake us up out of our sleep. I thought I told y'all, so she tried to be a disciplinary, but she was a single mother who had to go to work. When she went to work, we outside.
Got it.
With no parental supervision.
In Arlington.
In Arlington.
So who were the older guys you hung out with that taught you some?
My older cousins, my brother's friends. And then once I started gravitating in middle school, because of the culture. So we went from wearing MC Hammer pants.
Yep.
The baggy MC Hammer with the Giorgio Bertini shoe with the gold tips on them. We went from doing that to abruptly, from wearing polka dot shirts, silk shirts, pumps in a bunch, bikini draws, to Dickies and Killers now.
That's right.
We abruptly did that.
I remember Dickies. I remember the Dickies, Cortez.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's so. I remember 7th grade. I had the elite shoes with the fur around them.
Yep.
The Jabot jeans. Summer of I think 1989 when Colors came out, and we got introduced to.
What a great movie.
Man, what a great movie. What a legend movie. When we got introduced to that, it sowed a seed throughout America. Just like Menace to Society, Boys in the Hood, Scarface, The Birth of a New Nation, movies like that. Yeah. So that was one of those kind of movies, and children shouldn't have watched it.
Colors.
Yeah.
Interesting. So you're saying those movies brought bad habits to good neighborhoods?
The Birth of a New Nation did. That's what Proof got playing for him.
Got it.
And got even stronger after that movie.
So are you hanging out with troublemakers in Arlington, or are you watching,
I've never seen. So I'm in the suburbs. So you gotta think. At 5 years old, I'm in a hospital learning how to rewalk again. I'm getting a private tutor. So I'm not outside playing.
Right.
I'm physically disabled.
Right.
Soon as I get ready to play, boom, I put my eye out. So at 9 years, 8, 9 years, so from 5 to 8,
yeah.
I got a little 3-year time span. But 2 of those years, I'm learning how to rewalk again. So 1 year, I finally get to play with kids as a regular kid. Boom, put my eye out. 9 eye surgeries from the age 8 to 12. So I get my eye took out like 5th grade. I got the prosthetic lens put in 6th grade. But my first part of my 6th grade year, I had a patch on. There go the inferiority complex.
Yeah.
So
what were people calling you? Because kids can be proven around 6th grade.
No. I don't hear nothing because I'm gonna hit the first person in their mouth. All you have to do is make an example out of one person before many people. The police do it, your slave masters do it, the job do it. All you gotta do is make an example out of one before many, and word travels. Nothing spreads like word of mouth. Many hit him in his eye, man. So who wants to mess with a person that don't talk and pow? So that was my defense mechanism. And I knew I could get away with it because he was talking about my mama. That's all I had to say. So I had a cop out. I learned how to use a cop out at an early age in life.
Do you think that's a common pattern, or how did you learn it? Did somebody teach you, or do you think you just had it?
Resiliency and wherewithal from feeling what you're feeling.
Did your brother also have it, or you had it more than he did?
What's that?
The ability to manipulate and feel like a victim so you were forgiven.
My brother got caught for everything.
He got caught with everything.
He got caught for doing wrong. I was a very charismatic child. So charisma go a long way, even when you're lying.
What month's your birthday?
May 17, 1977.
Interesting.
So I'm a borderline Gemini, full-blooded Taurus. But I was an honest kid. So if you press me too much, I will come out and tell the truth, even to this day. If my woman said, did you do it? Did you do it? If I happen to keep lying, I feel like a coward. Yeah, I did it. Fuck it. Yeah, I did it. She get it out of if you keep pressing her.
Got it.
Coward's line.
Does she get it out of you quite often?
Yeah, I'm a brutally honest man. Do you
How does
love
she
her?
handle it?
Yeah, I love her.
You tell her.
Yeah, if I love my other woman, yeah, I love my other woman. Baby, you think I look fat in it? You know you look fat in it, baby. That's why you asking. Why you asking? Why you fucking why you putting the pressure on me? You know you look fat in it. That's why you asking. So some people can handle the truth.
Viewer discretion is advised. Like, he's gonna say some wild things because it's Charleston White. I like I said before at the beginning, I never really liked him, but I watched part of this before I started, and part of the stuff he was talking about is on point. But this is one of those sections where like you can't be mad at the man. Like I'm honest. I hear it. I rather be around somebody who's honest and is gonna tell me how they feel and what they think, regardless of if I like it or not, than be around somebody who isn't gonna tell me exactly what they think and is gonna essentially feed me, a crock of horse shit. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't want to be around somebody like that. But
it's the ugly truth that they can't handle. Say what's up, everybody? It's your boy Charleston White. Cuss me, just took.
we're gonna skip this ad now. Oh, and there's another ad. So, but yeah, like. Charleston White he's an interesting character, man. This is oh, I can't believe I'm actually like listening to this dude, because I usually wouldn't have.
Who were hung out with some people who there was attempt on murder, convicted. What happened?
No, so my uncle had just died, who was a positive influence in our life. He died to gun violence. My mother had just became pregnant, and my little sister
We're gonna
was
skip
born.
this part
My
because
brother
he's just talking about his
from
personal
listening
life.
to rap music, and this is in the 5th and 6th grade. There was a song by 2 Live Crew called "Hey, We Want Some." Uncle Wayne, they pimp on a woman, or they lay around all day, or earn their clothes in the middle of the day, wake up late with a joint in their mouth, fly clean, and go nowhere. The unproductive black male of the 80s. So that's what I saw. So I watched all the males in my family go to prison. From my mom's cousins, my uncles, grandmother's brothers, and I never heard anybody say anything bad about prison. So think about this. I never hear anybody say anything bad about prison. They come home and make it sound bravado. Like you're missing out on something. As it's the rite of passage. Not only that, you're seeing it on television. So it's being reinforced either way. So we had a whole black exploitation era. So by the time, I'm an injured kid who get to watch all the television in the world in the hospital, at home. We had a VC. Yeah. So by the time I get to be a normal kid that can go outside and play, it's a new culture, gang culture. And it's trending. I remember we seen colors. Our first summer, we went and got bandanas and put them in my pocket. I went and got me a pocket knife. I don't know nothing about this but what I saw on television. I didn't know how to have sex from listening to rap music. And this is in the 5th and 6th grade. There was a song by 2 Live Crew called "Hey, We Want Some." Yeah, so imagine stopping it, rewinding it, stopping it, so you can get every lyric. So our culture taught us, and I say this often, and people really overlook it. It's a rape culture.
Rape culture.
Yeah, hip hop is a rape culture.
Tell me about it.
I put a Molly in her drink, and she ain't even know it. Me and my homies like to play this game. Some call it Amtrak, but some call it the train. We all would line up in a single file line and take our turns waxing girls' behinds. Every time it get to me, I was out of luck because I stick my end and it would get stuck. The girl would say stop, I say I'm not.
That's crazy.
The girl would say stop, I say I'm not. But we dance to it. There's another song. I take her back to the trap. I gave her perp, and she ain't even know it. Then she dropped her panties. So when we watch the frat parties, what was that, Porky's Revenge? Hey, let's spike the punch. The girls don't know to spike the sponge. When we see a bunch of girls, hey, baby, let me get you a drink. Come over, let's have some drink. Drink to do what? And they have sex. That's coercion. She has to have a sober mind. So that's our culture.
How did it happen?
Hollywood entertainment. They
Because it didn't
They
used to be like
romanticize.
that.
Now they romanticize.
When you see the videos of back in the days, African American families, suits, the way they dressed, clean, solid, strong. What got into that? You're saying purely as hip hop and movies?
A group of teenagers that became a phenomenon like the Beatles, NWA. Not only that, you got this group that know things about crack that the rest of America don't know. They the first crack babies. They the ones told us in songs, mothers smoke crack and your friends can have sex with them. Boys in the hood is always hard. We didn't know about a strawberry. That's a strawberry. A woman who sell her body for crack. You know how many of our angels that end up doing that? You know how many guys that was in middle school that sold dope and his best friend mom was on dope and he ended up effing his best friend mom? And now they hate each other to this day. So it wasn't just hip hop. It was the lyrical content that children was being able to have access to. This is before the parental advisory stickers. Not only that, you got this music, which if you wanna check the temperature of your youth mentality, listen to the music. So
that's a crazy statement, because you think about where the music is right now, and you look around, you see that things aren't the best. What you got out there? You got dudes talking about. I mean, I don't even know where to start. Like I honestly, I stopped listening to a lot of music. You know, there's music that I still listen to, and I'm definitely, I still definitely listen to trap, but I refuse to listen to it on a daily basis all the time because of the level of influence that it has on your mind that you don't even know it. And nowadays, a lot of the music is just talking about nonsense. Like, you know, it's drill stuff that's essentially killing our youth from Chicago to New York. If you know anything about the drill scene, and you know, or even like King Von, and that's kind of some of the things I've seen Charleston White talk about how, you know, King Von was a serial killer, and you know, there was that a lot of this drill music is essentially, I don't want to go as far as saying devil worship. I mean, you could see aspects of it that is really like insane. I don't even know how people have digressed this far or devolved this far, but there's definitely things in the music that are being said that are crazy. Like, you know, even like Cardi B's, you know, WAP, and you know, Meg Thee Stallion and Sexy Red, and kind of all of these artists that are mainly black, you technically usually portray the worst part of the culture, and you know, it's nothing but violence. It's nothing but, you know, we gotta get this money and bitches and hoes, and you know what like he said, you want to know where your kid's gonna be in 25, 30 years, or you want to know the pulse of the youth? Listen to the music, and you look at what white people listen to, you look at what black folks listen to, and then you look at the youth of each group, and you're like, God damn, like, I mean, there's no other correlation. Now, correlation doesn't always lead to causation, but it's still too big of a coincidence to say that now we have a culture on our hands that's you know, degrading for our own folks. And you know, and I know people are gonna be like, oh, it's just music and this and that, but at the end of the day, it's like, at some point in time, we gotta look at the situation, and we need to be our own biggest critic. We need to be our own saviors. We need to be our own people to, you know, grab the bull by the horns and be like, no more. Like, we don't want to hear this shit. But we steady allowing the machine to glorify these things, and then we follow along, and that's what it was. PBD, I said it earlier. He made a comment where he said, you know, back in the day, you remember seeing black families and guys in suit and ties, and if you think about when you bring that up, what do you usually hear? Oh, when was that? When women had no rights, and women were beaten by their husbands on a regular basis, and guys were always drunks, and you know, the patriarchy this and the patriarchy that, and that's like, that's a quick tie to the point in time where, like, back in the day, we had one of the lowest divorce rates. Like, fathers were in the home, and things were a lot better. We had better communities. We would actually come together and not only make our communities better, but then also we wouldn't attack one another. And then the transformation, like Charleston White said, came when a young group like the Beatles got famous, and he's talking about NWA and niggas with attitude, like, and all the stuff they were saying, which was, in a way, it was what they were going through in certain parts of the community, but they went from talking about what they were going to glorifying the street life, and it's like, and it became mainstream super fast, and now and now you think about it, what, 20 years later now? I mean, I don't know how old NWA is, but what, if it was the 80s, yeah, we're looking at, what, 40 years, basically? Like, almost 45 years? And look at what it's devolved into. Look at drill rap. Look at the amount of killings that happen, in Chicago and New York and Los Angeles, right? And it's just insane. And one thing I was surprised that I learned at a young age was the fact that Crips and Bloods used to be gangs, but they defended the neighborhood from the illicit activities of the police, which is the topic for another time, but still, it's like that's how it started, and then it translated from that, right, which was a coalition of the men in the neighborhood to protect their families and the people in the neighborhood, all the way to this devolvement of now we're gonna attack each other and we supporting this block. And it's like, I think Jay-Z said it one time, he's like we dying over blocks we don't even own, or you know what I mean, something like that to that effect. So it's just like it's a really interesting like topic for this to really be not just a topic, but it's a really crazy way that I don't even know how to say it. Like, it's so mind-boggling that you look back 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and you see the transformation of what was called the black neighborhood.
Now you got this new chemical that was made in a laboratory. Black people didn't know how to cook crack. That's a chemist method. Somebody had to teach them. By the way, government taught somebody how to do this. When we watched the movie Snowfall. So when they came out of California to come spread crack throughout America, who they bring? The gangs. Yeah. Throughout the South, these little small country towns, who people are fascinated by California from what we seen on television. And we emulated a culture that was more destructive than the Ku Klux Klan and the Jim Crow system.
Wow. And you're saying it was intentional?
Nobody thought it would become this. It was dismissed. There's a bunch of kids from the ghetto rapping. It was dismissed. No one could predict what crack was going to do to Black America. Nobody. Nobody could have predicted that.
What do you think about Rick Ross, the OG, not the rapper? I'm talking about the real.
He was an illiterate man who the government used as a pawn.
I had him on the podcast. We talked about it.
Yeah, he's very educated now. I like the tenacity that you have to have as an illiterate man, but he's a front. These are poor children.
All right, so listen up.
These commercials are killing me. What's going on, huh? Sorry up and get over this skip. We don't want to give nobody no credit because you already know they're putting ads on my shit, so.
I get this because where we get this from? How do I know if I sell this can put me away from life and I'm not hurt nobody? I'm going to feed my family. The people coming to buy it. What black man knew when they was touching dope that this could put me away forever? They didn't even know what it would do. They didn't even know what it would do. So a lot of it was out of survival. Some of it was out of greed. But most people started selling drugs out of nature's first rule of self-preservation.
Yeah, when I had him, he was one of the biggest drug lords, by the way. He was making.
See, that's one thing I don't necessarily agree with Charleston White, where it's like, in the community, that's all you had, and we started selling drugs to each other out of self-preservation. I mean, there's a lot of other things that the community could have did, right? And I also understand that the community at one point was divided. It wasn't like it was back in the day where people were coming together. You know, you had the strong nuclear family. At this point in time, the nuclear family was being attacked via crack, but still, it was just like, it's like, I feel like there's no excuse to sell to your own people. Like, I feel like there's no excuse to even jump into that, and just even people committing crimes in their own neighborhood, talking about, well, I had nothing else to do, I had to go figure out how to feed my family and shit. It's like, yo, like, I don't know, I have a hard time with that aspect. It's one of those things where it's like, growing up and spending time in the hood and seeing some of the things that I saw, right, it definitely shaped me and molded me, but I was always on the thought process of like, okay, well, this is life right now for me, but, you know, I see a nice car, or I see this on TV, I see on that on TV, like, why can't I have that? Or how do I get that? It was never, and maybe in my particular example, you know, because I had a strong mother who kind of pushed us in a specific direction, I was able to see things that I wouldn't have been able to see if I was raised by different parents. But I don't see to me, that's not a good enough excuse, and maybe I'm just pandering at this point, I don't know, but I don't think that's an excuse. That's a good enough excuse to say, oh, well, I was selling it because I had no other choice. Like, there's always been another choice, especially in the 80s, 90s. Like, I know that there was still a lot of gatekeeping, and it's not like it is today where you could really make it. You could become anything you want. But it's tough for me to settle with that, especially coming from the hood and being around a lot of the folks, and just being in these environments at a young age, and seeing a lot of things. And granted, I do know that some people don't have the safeguards I had, or don't have the adults in their life like I did, who always tried to push me in the right direction. Again, it's one of those things that I'm just torn between. But I think that if the community really decided to come together, like, for real, and help each other out, like the community would be way better off.
I mean, he was an OG making a lot of money, and the way he got caught was very interesting, and how it got big. But I just pulled up a number right now. Black Americans are 13% of the population, yet they account for 37% of crack users.
It was given directly to them. Cocaine was a rich person drug. Crack is the only drug you say, hey man, I got $2, and you get your $2 hit. No other drug you can do that. The weed man don't do it. The liquor man don't do it. Crack was the heroin guy don't do it. Crack was the only drug you can come with a bunch of quarters and say, man, I got $1.50. It wasn't it's not a long-term high like acid or Molly. It's a short high. But the dopamine that it feeds, it what makes it so dangerous.
How do you address it at this point? How do you address it now? Like, if you...
just like the first the guys who created AA and NA. You don't change that method. That method has always worked and it still works today. You can't change nothing if the person don't want to change.
Can you reverse the effects of it today?
Well, yes.
How would you do it?
Well, yes and no. Because it's just like the pandemic virus was real big, and they pushed it on us. They pushed us on. Well, since 90 to 97, all you heard about was crack babies. All they showed us what crack does to a baby. Where are they now? The crack babies done grew up and had babies. Where are they babies at? What they babies doing? They're the violent ones that we see today. That's 10, 11, 12 years old. These are the violent, these are the kids we are afraid of right now. Them crack baby kids. Then, if you want to put that on Black America, psychotropic drugs that white people been getting white kids. ADHD medication. So, and then this is a group of children who are human detached from humanity because they're in the metaverse world. So they don't have the same compassion and care, concern that regular humans should have because we have human attachment. They don't go outside to play. Most households, when I get my plate, I go over there, you go over there, mama in there. We don't eat together, so there's really no attachment. How are we going to reverse that? And we don't even have connection with our own children. We can't connect with the youth now. We're too busy fighting over Democrat and Republican, and we're losing our children. Not just by violence, by opioids, suicides. So, how do you reverse it? It starts in the mirror. It starts in your mirror. When you come through washing your face, coming out the bathroom, you look around in your household and see if the bed is made up before you say something to your spouse. Then once you kind of pick up what you can pick up, then you start directing to your woman and your kids. Then you come outside and say, hey, how you doing, neighbor? But most people want to start in the world, in the community, in my city. Now start in your home. From the mirror.
I got you.
Yeah. That's how you fix your community. That's how you fix the world. Fix what you see in the mirror. Come out, look around the house. Fix what needs to be repaired in the house. Go outside and be neighbor. Hey, what's going on, neighbor?
Very interesting perspective. What's your opinion on Planned Parenthood?
Planned Parenthood is our new Hitler, our new Nazi group.
Whoa.
That's exterminating strictly black people. Because the founder of Planned Parenthood, Margaret Sanger, said this is solely to eradicate, eugenics, to eradicate black babies. Why we still got it hanging around? It does nothing but abort babies. Most women who need prenatal care don't go there. Most black women don't even get prenatal care. They don't even know they're pregnant till 4 months in. Still high on drugs they were partying off of. So now Planned Parenthood should be banned. I was gonna say something inflammatory, but no, it should be banned. Because it serves no purpose and no justice to the community it claims it's serving.
Why do you think it's gotten as big as it's gotten? Who's supporting it? Because the way it's sold in a way that, you know, women's rights, it's good for women, and they have a pro-choice.
Man, you know how many, you know how much stem cells they get to collect? Man, yeah, they get the whole new forms of life.
I always wondered, like, what they did with the abortion, or excuse me, what they did with the fetuses after the abortion. Like, how do you dispose of them? You know, it's something that I've looked into myself, and I don't know if I necessarily believe the rabbit hole, but there's a lot of information out there that says that they don't do nothing good with what's left over. And, you know, I think he's about to allude to it, you know, about what they do with the stem cells and the cells, and, you know, how they could be running tests and all kinds of, you know, inhumane things. And it's just like, even when I had watched a video of maybe like a few years ago now, and it was like what an abortion does, or like how an abortion works, and how, you know, depending on how old the baby is, it will literally like try to get away from the, I guess, forceps they use or whatever. I'm not exactly sure the terminology to pull the fetus out, and so it's just like, that video definitely changed my whole opinion on abortion. And you know, I'm not a proponent of like, oh, you should, you know, yeah, if that's what you choose to do, that's what you choose to do. I'm not here to condemn nobody. Do what you want to do, but I definitely do believe that it does affect you in a way that is irreversible, and you can't really explain it until a woman actually goes through with it. So, but regardless, I was always curious on what they did with the fetuses and the stuff that's left over. Like is it donated to science? Like what happens with it, you know?
From these aborted embryos and fetuses, they get to do tests like lab rats on humans, with no oversight. We don't know what they do with those bodies, those babies. So there's no oversight really. They get to do what they want to do. But the originator, Margaret Sanger, this was never set up to be something good. So how can you change anything's original design if you can't go back and change the design? Why abort the babies? Why not try to find the daddy? Y'all come together, get him some resources to breathe life and keep life instead of take life. Why kill the baby? If I get mad at my dog, I can't shoot him, I can't feed him, but I can go kill my baby? You'll put me in jail if I can't feed my dog no more, kill him, abandon him, and she can go kill the baby without the father's consent. She didn't make the baby by herself. So our government get this woman and this organization to kill a man's baby without his permission. How can you do that?
If you're open.
That's another good point. I always thought to myself like, there's got to be a better way, a better system to do this than to just abort, just have an abortion. And I understand sometimes, the situation requires an abortion, and I'm not upset at that. I'm not trying to say no, you shouldn't. No, abortions are all bad. Like I'm not even trying to even get into that topic. But like I always thought to myself, there's got to be a better way to handle this whole scenario, versus just not giving the father, which is equal part in making a baby, at least the option to wanna either be a part of the life or help out or whatever. You know what I mean? Something that would be less than what it is than what we're doing now, which is just a straight up abortion. But hey, again, that's one of those topics where it's tough to have an opinion. And at some point in time, like people, there's always gonna be people who disagree with you. There's always gonna be, somebody who's I should be able to do what I want to do, and I'm also not against that, but there's gotta be a way to handle this in a better format, than how we're really handling it right now. But yeah, like this is crazy. He's making some crazy points right now, like, and I can see what he's trying to say. I can really see it. I didn't think I was gonna agree with him as much as I have. I thought I was gonna be able to, pick him apart, but clearly, from what I watched at the beginning compared to what I'm seeing now is not like. And I didn't watch the whole thing before I uploaded, before I started the live stream. I just watched a little bit of it, but yeah, he's making more sense than I thought he would be.
Gonna do it behind my back. I ain't got. Man, what if I want to keep this life? What if we killing the next president? You don't know what we taking away from the world when you do that.
Half the population disagrees with you. Why do you think that is?
Half the population disagrees with me. Because we live in a society and era, but this group of Americans look at right and say right is wrong, and look at wrong and say wrong is right. I don't know how much longer we can go on, because we've never been that kind of country. Even when we got here with the forefathers, they fought over slavery. They just said, "Yeah, we go down." They really fought over it. They spent days and months and years trying to put a fork. No, and it was people saying, "No, man, we know this ain't right, man. It's a necessary evil." Everybody been slave, but man, they fought against that. America just didn't dive in and say, "Okay, that's what we want to do." They really fought against that. Locked themselves in rooms like they do now. Right now, they fighting over bullshit. Man, them people really, they fought over that. If you really know history.
So you're saying this is something worth fighting for, and
the rights that we have, the rights that we had and we knew as children, our children would never know. So I think it's worth fighting so they can know what a summer of 1985 and 87 was like when you didn't have to worry about kids getting killed by gun violence. Never crossed nobody's mind. Man, we could walk to the mall, go here, and we never had a pervert kidnapping nobody. All the perverts.
Well, maybe you did, and you just didn't. It wasn't known because we didn't have the access to the amount of news and information like we do today. So that's one thing I probably don't agree with him. Like, oh, it was that great. Like, yeah, I remember a time, back in the day where, yeah, it seemed, looking back now, it seemed like things were better and there was none of this kind of craziness going on. But I could also see the other side of that coin, and it's like, yeah, there wasn't, quote unquote, any of that craziness that we knew about because there wasn't the ability to get the level of information we get now. Like, you can get information 24/7 any point in time on your phone, whether it's a news article about what's going on, whether it's an Amber Alert to your phone saying somebody was kidnapped, and it's like I don't necessarily agree with that point that things were a lot safer then. Maybe there was less gun violence and things like that for sure, but there was definitely still some deviant people out there.
It was in the family, wasn't strangers.
She said the perverts was in the family.
It was in the family. Kidnapping nobody. All the perverts was in the family.
Nah, that's wild. That's wild. oh, the perverts was in the family. There's some truth to that, but still, I don't think that doesn't make it any better, and that doesn't change the fact that there were still things going on that it was probably harder to figure out that there was this deviant shit going on because you didn't have the access to information that we have now.
Wasn't strangers? We looking for strangers, but it's your cousins, it's your uncles. Them the people that's doing it.
That don't make it any better.
But we looking for strangers. So, man, our kids don't know what it's like to be free and have real freedom because they exist in a metaverse world that have community guidelines don't allow them to have free speech. So what outlet do our children have that we have where they can have freedom of expression? Can't. Everybody's offended. So yeah, these children are in a box. Like, you know, I actually read the book and saw the movie, the movie V for Vendetta. That's where we're at in America right now.
That's a crazy movie, though. That is a crazy movie. And really, the premise, if you haven't seen it, I suggest you go see it. But the premise of the movie is basically, you know, how a few people kind of get together to take down the system, and the way they do it is essentially terrorism is the way they do it. But they were being oppressed. The government was oppressing people. So, you know, I heard a quote the other day, or maybe it was a podcast. I'm not sure where I heard it, but I remember the gentleman was saying, he was saying right now we call terrorism, you know, the people from, you know, ISIS and Iraq and the Middle East has the terrorism, and, you know, these are the people who are terrorists. But if you look back to when America was first being started, Thomas Jefferson and the founding fathers were terrorists to the crown, right? So it really just depends. And the founding fathers just wanted religious freedom. They wanted to get away from taxation and really get away from the crown and all the nonsense that the crown was imposing on them, the crown being England. And so they was just trying to get away from essentially the tyranny of the king. And so the point that I'm trying to make is the fact that, like, it depends on which side you look at it from, because anybody could be labeled a terrorist when they're technically fighting for their own freedom. So again, it's just one of those things where it's like, it's real easy to sit on one side or the other, but in reality, if you look at the bigger picture, right, because it's real easy to look at a picture this close, but if you back out and look at it from a 30,000 foot perspective, then you really get the whole picture and you really understand, like, oh shit, maybe you know, those people at that time frame in England who were calling the founding fathers terrorists didn't realize how oppressed those people were here in the 13 colonies.
It got to the end of the movie V for Vendetta. That's where we're in America right now. We just had got to the end of the movie.
How do you think this thing ends?
Good wins, evil loses. Love conquer hates.
I agree with that. I mean, I think we should never lose hope. Good always wins. Evil doesn't. Now it does. You know, my grandpa used to always say it rains on good people just as well as bad folks, right? Just like good things happen to bad people and bad things happen to good people.
And then another civilization will start over again, because this group cannot go on another 100 years. Everybody's too hateful. Everybody's too hateful. It ain't just white people, black. Everybody hate everybody. Don't like no. So only thing ain't hating is the things in nature.
Yeah.
So I think love's conquer all. There'll be a small group of Americans who really love American and love humans and can appreciate life after all the destruction and disasters they done seen done upon earth based on mankind, and they gonna live nature-free people like Tarzan.
Who's evil today? If you were to say evil, where's evil coming from?
The Bible says, and I'm just saying what's been quoted, evil exists in high places. High places and high principalities. Evil don't exist among poor people.
That's like the quote from Batman. You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become a villain. You know, it's like, or what's the other quote? Power corrupts. Power corrupts absolutely. Or no, absolute power corrupts, or something like that. I gotta figure it out. You guys gotta give me a second. To
But
think
some of the
about
most
this one.
evil things appear to happen down off in poverty. Nah, that ain't evil. Those are conditions and circumstances that have been created not by your choice. Evil exists at the top. Evil gets to decide which military drop bombs. That's evil. The destruction and disaster that these men can cause, and they never touch a battlefield, that's evil. They're sending other people children, that's evil. If they had to send theirs, they'll think about going to war. If they had to put on a uniform like General George Washington did, get on the goddamn horse and fight with these soldiers, Trump, all of them, they'll stop wars. Now, Putin is the only one capable and has the wherewithal to be a soldier. That's why I respect him and I love him. So when I heard Trump and all these other weak...
He just said he loved Putin for that? That's low-key a wild statement. But I'm agreeing with his overall point, though, of, like, you know, if you look at history, and I love history, I've kind of read a lot about one of my favorite characters in history is Napoleon. But if you look at previous wars, right, even before, I would want to say before World War One, and even before that, like hundreds of years before that, a lot of people fought in the front lines with their soldiers. Generals would be at the front of their commanding forces, or even if not at the front necessarily, but they would be on the battlefield. And now you have this idea of rank and file being like, because you are, for lack of a better term, new, then you get the grunt position, and when we send the grunts out and we see how things go, while, you know, a lot of these generals are sitting back, heavily protected, and not really necessarily in danger of anything happening. And you know, I think that's where a lot of disconnect comes from, and you not only see it in the army, but you see it also in our politics, and you see it with our politicians who fight for causes that truly don't make no goddamn sense to the everyday person who's just trying to go to work, trying to get health care, trying to pay their bills, trying to feed their kids, trying to put their kids through college, trying to buy a house, trying to just get a car, you know, even pay for simple things where these certain people, well, the community it doesn't have the ability to focus on a long-term goal, because every day is a struggle, every day is a fight, every day is trying to get through shit. And you know, I think if we change the people we elect, and that even that would be tough. I'm not really a proponent of saying, oh, we need to change the system because the system is the problem, but like, there's got to be something we could do, and it starts with the kind of people we elect and the kind of laws that they enact, and you know, the hierarchy there is of, you know, because for example, because I went to Harvard, I'm better than somebody who has a technical job or a trades job, which is not necessarily true. Like, it's I don't believe that. I mean, I don't want to discredit people who go to Harvard and get a good education and, you know, learn some valuable lessons, because there are definitely things to be learned from college, but the best experience comes from living life and understanding those around you and the atmosphere and environment that you're in, and being able to discern that, and understanding different cultures, and being around different people, and being able to be good with all of it.
A politician talking to a real killer like this. This man done killed people. Y'all ain't never killed. Y'all been killing Durham. And he killed callously, cold hard. Them the leaders we need.
Killers?
For the nation. You got to kill the military. Your generals are killers. You train children to kill. Why can our commander-in-chief of our military be a killer? We need killers running as commander-in-chief.
Your 12-hour days are not making you productive. I challenge.
See, I don't agree with the words he's using. I think he could say it in a better format. But yeah, like, we should have people with experience other than just books and, oh, I went to college, oh, I volunteered. You know, we need people who are really in the front lines, and I was kind of alluding to that, where it's like, you know, the people we're electing have no experience. Like, they just have the experience of book smarts, and a lot of them, you know, and a lot of our politicians at this point in time are just career politicians. Like, I think I think a lot of people are waking up to that. I believe that's one of the reasons Trump got elected, because people were just sick and tired of the same old bullshit. You know, them telling us what we should think, how we should think, and who we should vote for, presenting us with two options that suck, and they both suck this year. In 2024, they suck regardless. But it was like, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna keep going with a politician, or are we gonna try this new guy Trump? And I think moving forward, you're gonna see a lot of change when it comes to politics in general. Or you're gonna have, or the other side of that coin is anarchy. Like that's really it. There's only two sides.
Let the president be vice president, but let a commander-in-chief be a military motherfucker to run this country and lead this country.
This is how it was for a long time.
I know history. And it was great America. Great America.
Meaning, when I say how it was, commander-in-chief was somebody that was in the military. Commander-in-chief.
I thought that's what they meant.
Yeah. Interesting. So you're saying you would prefer a leader at the top.
The sniper over in Iraq. I would prefer him, a person like him, that went over and fought for this country, killed for this country, lost buddies that died for this country, and come over and tell us what's best for this country.
You'd rather have that sniper be the president than who we have today?
Oh, yeah. Because he can't lead by himself. He has advisors. He has a cabinet. So he has, man, but yeah, you need a soldier in the White House. You don't need a politician. Let your politicians stay in Congress. But your president's supposed to be a soldier. You see what that African president is doing over there, that young brother? That's the kind of, he's a soldier. He's the commander-in-chief. Why do you got a Wall Street boy up there with a wig on? You need a loot.
He's not lying. I think the guy he's talking about is Ibrahim. I think it's, yeah, this guy. Yeah, that's definitely him. Let's see if we can pull up an image of him. Yeah, this is. I'm pretty sure this is the dude he's talking about. This guy increased the GDP of his country like by 1 billion or something crazy. Like he went from having a deal for the gold mines in his country, where his country would receive it for 1 billion, to now taking back the mines, and now the country makes $18 billion a year. Like, and you know, I don't know enough about him to say I agree with his tactics or I don't agree with his tactics, but I definitely can sit here and say, like, yeah, I think our country would benefit better and would do a lot better with somebody who has seen the level of destruction and death and lost someone, and understands that life is fragile, and that you can't just approach it with this bravado like you have our politicians approach things, especially in Congress. You see it all the time. Like, they want to hold up bills, and they want to prevent aid, and they want to, you know, fund other programs that a lot of times are only benefiting them and some of their constituents who are in their ears, which isn't the 99%. And I think we all know that. I don't gotta rant about that.
$10 captain with a ball spot in his head don't give a damn about a toupee. But he died for this country because he done served it. He done put years in it. He done trained and raised. This his country. This ain't country, man. Our military supposed to be our presidents and politicians and shit, man. They gonna fight, lose legs and limbs, and come over here and suffer without a voice. For politicians to dictate to them, and they gonna die, man. No, should nobody be able to dictate to a soldier who done put his life down on the line, and everybody should handle them with care.
So you prefer Putin over who we have here?
Yeah.
Tell me what you like about Putin.
Oh, I like Putin because everybody ain't in Russia. I like Kim Jong because everybody ain't in North Korea. North Korea is about North Korea. Russia is about Russia. America is not about Americans.
And see, right there, I don't agree with him. I don't agree with Putin and Kim Jong-un are necessarily better. Now, they are about their country, but they're so about their country that they silence the opposition in their country. That they have people in their country, and I don't know as much about Russia as I would say I know about North Korea and kind of some of the things going on in North Korea. But like, North Korea has a really, really big problem when it comes to you know, labor camps and indoctrination in general, not just re-indoctrination, but just the fact that they have so many concentration camps, or I guess they would call them re-education camps, and how they treat their people. And if you're not if you're not rated, because they have a rating system, if you're not rated as, loyal to the country, or you do anything that could be perceived as unloyal to the country, you're thrown in the gulag basically. And so, I wouldn't say that. Now, would I accept a leader who's been through shit and has fought for their country and believes in their country solely and cares solely, about their country? And I should probably preface that with, yeah, you care about how we're looked upon in the world, but you really want things that benefit your country to be above all else. And I think that's how every country technically is, outside of, certain countries in Europe, and then obviously us in the United States, and you probably can include Canada over there too. But yeah, like that it should just be like that. I don't know. He's making some good points, but I think he's also he's kind of a wild dude. Like, he's saying some shit like, oh, he loves Putin and he loves Kim Jong Un. Like, bro, them are two dictators. Like, they haven't let go of power in God knows how long. Kim Jong Un's family's been in power for a gazillion years, and Putin's been in power for ever since I can remember. Even before I was born, I'm pretty sure he was in power. So that's looking at least over 30 years now at this point, plus some. So just like, yeah, those are two people I don't think I want to be caught around or be messing around in their country, because someone like me wouldn't be able to have a YouTube channel, and someone like him wouldn't even be able to exist in either countries, because he's a controversial figure and he talks a lot of shit and he says things that would be counter to what the quote unquote regime would want. Even though here in America we don't have what's called a regime, but it's a republic. But regardless, like, it's still something that we should consider. Like, and him saying that is just it's just wild. But I'm gonna end here, and maybe I'll do a part 2. Let's see what the comments say. Let's see how many people watch this. We'll finish watching it. But if anything, you guys should definitely check it out. And shout out to the PVD podcast. They always have interesting people on. They usually do like a home team kind of thing, and they go over the news for the week. They do 2 live shows a week, and it's kind of interesting, because they definitely speak about things from a perspective that a lot of times I find myself being like, oh, I didn't think about it that way. But they're also willing to look at perspectives that don't align with how they feel. So that's something that I myself as a content creator value, because I don't want to live in an echo chamber. I want to be challenged. I want people to be like, nah, that's wrong. You shouldn't think like that because of XYZ. And I want to be able to be, confronted, I guess, for lack of a better term, confronted with opposite ideas to the ones that I have. Because the only way that I can really learn and really understand if my ideas are as good as I think they are is by being able to defend them against somebody who stands in opposition to my ideas. And I think as human beings, that's the best way to learn, is to really, if you could defend your opinion, you could defend what your train of thought is, and you might be onto something, you might have some good ideas, and also that's another good way to keep a lot of these shitty ideas out of the mainstream, because I think silencing most of the crowd then leads these conversations to be had in extremes, because the extremes don't care about being silenced, right? They just foster this level of hate, regardless of you want to be on the left or the right. Both extremes have wild ass concepts, and I think and I think that nowadays specifically, you see a lot of this extreme, a lot of these crazy ideas manifesting both in the left and the right side, and it's only because the majority is worried about talking about something because they might be canceled, or they might be looked at as some kind of ism or racist or anything that's a negative term, and they might lose their position in society, which is ultimately, no one wants to be ostracized outside, ostracized out of their society. You don't want that. You want to be a part of society. We are creatures. We're social creatures. We want to belong. And so I think that thinking that we need to shun certain ideas is wild. Yeah, we need to be able to kind of say, hey, there's certain rules around certain things, but for the most part, we need to be able to have the discourse to combat these negative ideas that truly suck if we try to implement them. And And without that, without the ability of discourse, without the ability to be able to have the discussion, you find some of the things we have now, which is wild ideas on either side. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate y'all for joining us. I see we got a couple people here in the live. I got a comment over here and it said he's speaking facts. Yeah, I mean, he was speaking some facts. So yeah, with that, thank you for joining us, and until next time, you already know what I'm gonna say.